This is one of the greatest airplanes that I've ever had my hands on to fly as just kind of a daily flyer. It might not be the absolute best 3D flyer or the world's best trainer, but it does hit all the nails on the head. It's an absolute blast, and in today's video I plan to fly it and show it off for you and just have some fun. But also, I thought it would be interesting to talk about something very unique that's happening in the world of RC right now. Now, we've been doing this for about 10, 12 years, consistently, regularly, and we talk to people in the industry. Behind the scenes conversations happen all the time. We kind of have a heads up, a little bit of an early indication on what's happening with the RC industry and the hobby before it tends to hit. Abby and I knew before COVID happened that something was up because all the China factories were shutting down and communication was nothing out of the blue, kind of about 2 weeks before it hit. We didn't know COVID was happening, but we knew something was up. People ask me, ever since we did that video when we said, hey, prices are gonna go up because of COVID, buy now, and then they did go up, I get asked all the time, Nate, what's happening in the world of RC? So in this video, we're gonna fly an amazing airplane and talk about what's happening in the world of RC. Let's go. Well, let's talk about this airplane first and foremost. Right now, I'm flying on a 4S 2200, which is my favorite size battery. It's a very high performance battery. Two different types of batteries, smart batteries and non-smart batteries, both of which will be linked in the description box below. This plane also has really nice lights on it, which I forgot about actually. And just the fact that it's bright yellow is really nice. I haven't flown it since the last time it was on the channel, so it's not like a maiden for me, but you know, I fly a big variety of things, so it's not like I don't get to get good at one particular thing. And then, anyway, if this lives through this battery, the idea is to fly a second battery too. So that's what I'm hoping for today. It's a really good inverted flight plane too. Forgot about that. I mean, it's just a very, very, very well-rounded airplane. The unfortunate thing is, it's kind of a sleeper. What'll happen with this, I almost guarantee it, is it's gonna have slow popular growth like the Commander. Now, I don't mean the Commander, yes, the 1.3, the E-Flite Commander, not the red one that was a 3S plane, but when they reintroduced the blue one, the 4S version, that quickly became my favorite airplane to fly, and it was my favorite for about 3 years. Geez, I think there's 10 to 15 videos on our channel of me saying how amazing it is. Now I don't really fly it as much anymore because I sold it to fly this one, and everybody online on the Facebook groups that I'm a part of talks about the Commander. No one really talks about this yet. They will. This is definitely the winner of just a very sweet everyday flyer. You guys know how like scared I get flying inverted, and I don't like to fly inverted too low and stuff, but about the last minute or so inverted. So let's crank it down the runway, full throttle, snap it, inverted snap into inverted recovery. Oh, I hope so. That was close. Yeah, just a sweet airplane. And before we get into the actual like juicy conversation here, Abby, you've got to ask a question.
Well, we know, but will it snap?
Go for it. Right in front of the camera. There it is. What a perfect little snap. Okay, so things are happening in not just the world of RC, but just kind of things in general. But RC is very unique because they're kind of, at least planes especially, big, bulky, expensive things. And the only people that make airplanes that aren't overseas, and as far as I'm aware, for the most part, is flight tests, at least foam stuff. They do the Atoms board, and they are working on a company in America that makes ESCs. So some electronics are being made in America, and I think they have a game plan on trying to get motors as well made in America, but that's probably a bigger task. Even the ESCs to me is extremely impressive. So prices of things, you guys have probably noticed, are going up, 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 up. Unlike that knife edge, that was a perfect knife edge. and it's for various reasons. Just the economy, inflation, tariffs, everything, anything and everything. And to stay completely out of politics, it's factual what's happening. Like it or not, that is happening. Prices are going up. And the interesting thing is, we've seen over the last 6 months or so, and I'm not calling anyone out here, specifically, but there are some higher ups within companies, and I don't just mean one particular company, leaving companies where they've been for 10 plus years. Well, that's usually not a good sign for any company in general. I mean, I'll call one company out specifically, which is FMS. One of their newer people, but was still in a higher position, is in the process of leaving. And by the time you watch this video, they will be gone from the company. One of the owners kind of reached out of FMS and told us this. And I asked about, new things, because they haven't had any new things pop up lately. And they said, yeah, 2025 is probably going to not have possibly any new airplanes. Now, this is, again, FMS. They told me that they should have some ground vehicles coming out, and they'd like to be able to get those things to us for the channel. They had a few other questions for me as well, just about some links and stuff, but they have confirmed, like, it's not going to be a good year for airplanes, and some years they knock it out of the park with some really cool stuff. Does that mean they won't make something happen, or like do a version 3 or 4 of an airplane? Probably not. They're probably going to do their best to stay on everyone's radar. They make really amazing airplanes. That was a nice pass. But just so you guys know, the general consensus right now is new airplanes are going to be spread out, let's say. There's still plans for some. I'm sure that like E-Flite and Horizon have plans to release some, but I'm guessing that the brakes have been hit on a lot of their projects for various reasons. And when you see people leaving companies, it is a little alarming, but that doesn't mean the company won't go anywhere. It just means it's going to undergo some changes. You remember a lot of stuff like Tower Hobbies. Tower Hobbies Planes has made actually a good little comeback with Horizon. And when they were under the Hobbico name brand, they were struggling, right? And they failed as a business for various reasons, and then Horizon Hobby bought them out. I'm not saying that will happen, but even like, let's say Axial. Axial was a good brand on its own 2 feet, and it's under the Horizon brand, under the Horizon umbrella, and they've released a ton of stuff in the last 5 or so years that they've owned that brand. So companies undergo changes. Sometimes there are times of increased profitability for them, and so we see a lot of new awesome things come out. A couple years ago, Arma just killed it on new releases and innovations, and now we're seeing a lot of re-releases instead of new releases, which is okay. But so you see like really great times, and then you see also kind of drier times too. So I think that this is just my prediction. I could be completely wrong, but I think we're just kind of gonna see a little bit of a dry time for the entire hobby of RC. We might still see some new releases. I just don't think it's gonna be a banging year like the last 2 or 3 years have been. I wish this was like a live chat so I could answer people's questions and stuff. I don't want to be too specific, obviously, about certain people and stuff like that, but I've built really good relationships with people that work in the industry over the last 10 years especially, and we're rooting for them and their families and stuff. It means a lot to us that we see success with them. But yeah, it's just a very interesting time for RC. Now let's talk more about this airplane. In the comments, I'm sure you guys have questions and stuff, but regarding the airplane, has anyone considered remotely getting this airplane? Because it's a pretty budget-friendly airplane. The nice thing about it is its size and just its like scalability. So we can do really snappy maneuvers and stuff, but we can tame it down, fly it on safe, kind of fly it like a trainer. Long flights too, Abby. I forgot how long these flights are. So this probably going to actually be one flight for this video. Very long flight though. I would not say this should be a person's first airplane at all. There's just because. Now, if this was 15 years ago, and then this plane existed with all the other planes, yeah, it should be everybody's first airplane because of the technology and assisted flight and stuff. But because other better options do exist as a trainer, like the Aeroscout or something, we'll link that in the description box below. This shouldn't be a person's first. That's a tractor mowing behind us. But it could easily be someone's second or third airplane, depending on how good you're doing with your first. And there's just so much you can learn on this, even if you don't like the way it looks. And this is what I tell people about the Aeroscout. A lot of people like to fly scale things like P-51s and stuff. That's fun. But if you want to get good at flying, you want to fly something like an Aeroscout and then something like this, just because there's so much you can learn on this airplane. All right, Abby, I am going to just crank it full throttle basically and eat up this battery just to show off what this thing can do. We'll crank it full throttle here.
Lost you on that one.
Yeah, sorry. Just did kind of a 4-point. I think Mark does this crazy. How does he do this? Okay, he goes half up, half back, half down, half over. Whew. Something like that. He's such a good pilot. I'll bet that one makes him nervous, even though he's a really good pilot. Just trying to eat it up. Let's just go rocket mode. Rocket mode. Unlimited verticality into a 0 throttle. Flat spin. Inverted flat spin. Give it some throttle. There, that's cool. Not so flat. Let's try that one more time since we still got the juice for it. So you get it level. Can I actually flat spin this? Probably not. Oh, I went the wrong way. I went the wrong way. Ah, maneuvers like that. Everything takes practice. I've had some people tell me in the comments that I'm turning out to be a really good pilot. I don't think that about myself. I think that I've got a lot of improvements to make in the hobby, but I appreciate the kind words. Now I have my battery mounted pretty much up front, and so to be able to pull off a hover with almost a dead battery like that with it mounted in the front, that is impressive on this airplane. That's impressive. That's amazing. We'll get a voltage alarm. Should hit. Should absolutely hit on this when we get a low battery. I cannot believe. Do I say this every time I fly? I cannot believe this flight time. It's not like anything crazy either. This is just a 2200 milliamp battery.
My camera's been on for almost 12 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh, Abby. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is usually how we hit our low battery, right here. I like to go full throttle and just whip it around. Come on. We get that low battery, we'll get you. Full throttle, full throttle, full throttle. Come on, baby.
You're making me dizzy.
Wow, Abby, this battery is insane. Whoa, look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh, someone count those rolls, please. Another nice thing about this plane is the white top and then the yellow bottom. So your orientation is definitely there. Okay, what do you say we land it? That's just insane. We should be able to see with telemetry what our voltage is at after we land it. So let's bring it down the runway, come in for a landing. Hopefully after this long flight I have a halfway decent landing, my goodness. Not bad. That's pretty good landing. This is a great airplane. It is fun to fly every time I fly it. And it's unnecessary about the wing clip design on here, but let me show it to you guys just really fast because it's so quick and easy. This says we're at 14.4 volts. total. I don't have individual cells on here. Crazy. We've probably had at least like 3 more minutes of flight. Okay, check this out. Totally unnecessary. I'm gonna unplug this just for safety's sake, but I wish they did this on pretty much all their airplanes. You twist this little bolt 90 degrees, and then the spring pops up, and now let's do both sides. Well, you brag about a thing and then this happens. Come on. How's that doing? Okay, well that's not gonna. There. Pop up a little more. There, see that? Crazy. And you know, it's just a plug. You don't have to mess with wires at all. It's a really good design. This should just be the plane that everybody owns. I mean, it's really that good. And I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments, people that do own it, please back me up and let other people know, yeah, it's worth owning. That is a very good airplane. This airplane and all of its goodness is linked in the description box below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed talking about, you know, the hobby, the industry, and potentially what could happen. Hey, I could be wrong. And in fact, I hope I'm wrong, because I like seeing a bunch of new releases come out. It's way more exciting, obviously. But I do think that we just have to be realistic when we look at the hobby, and maybe it's time to take a minute to enjoy what does exist. Let's face it, the only reason I can keep up with a bunch of new releases is because I have a YouTube channel with 600,000 subscribers. Otherwise, I could never keep up financially with all of the new releases that come out all the time. So let's hope that these companies can at least keep in stock what they do have, and that'll give us all an opportunity to revisit airplanes like the EC-1500. What an awesome airplane. I think that's only been on the channel one time, so maybe it's time for us to take another look at the EC-1500 or some others that we absolutely love. There's nothing wrong with enjoying what you have or taking a second or third look at things that have existed on the market for a year or so. To me, when I pick up a new airplane from a company that I've never messed around with before, even though the product has been out for 2 or 3 years, baby, that airplane is still new to me, and it's super fun and a whole new experience. So my recommendation would just be to save up a little bit of money and buy something that you've kind of had an interest in already anyway. I want to say a massive thanks to God for blessing us with the time to jump in front of the camera and share this flight and this experience with you guys. I also want to say a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters, because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without your insanely awesome support. Now, this plane has been on the channel a couple times, but I think you should also take my advice on exactly what I just said and enjoy some airplanes that are out and exist now. We'll have a handpicked video popping up right about now just for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.
Bye.